I know Sebastian well. Listen to him. He's with us.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, indeed. And you're with him as well if you're listening to this radio show, along with the great Mike Lindell, another patriot who believes in America first. Did you do it? Did you order your new MyPillow slippers? I got mine. We got ours. And they're fabulous. Support this man. 25 companies are boycotting MyPillow products because they hate him because he's a conservative and a patriot. Go straight to his website. Support Mike today. Go to mypillow.com. If you use my name, you'll get more than 60% off. More than 100 products made here in America. Amazing products. And also a company that supports talk radio. Call 800-829-8468. Send the cancel culture leftists a message. Go right to mypillow.com. Use promo code GORKA to support Mike. That's 800-829-8468. MyPillow.com, promo code GORKA. We are delighted. Another good friend of the show, another real patriot, former New York Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik is on the line. Welcome back, Commissioner.
Sebastian, how are you?
Very well, except I open the newspapers, I look on social media, and I get very angry very quickly. As a commissioner, you have to separate fantasy from reality. And let me ask you this. When you have a crisis, and you're in a position of responsibility like you were, you have to call a crisis, don't you?
Well, you do. You have to have the common sense to realize what it is in the first place. You have to have a plan. You know, the key behind responding to a crisis is having plans and protocols and policies in place to deal with it. It's pretty apparent that this administration has none of that. They have a Secretary of Homeland Security that I find, and I've said this publicly over the last few days, is probably the most incompetent person that's ever been in that position. What's going on in the borders is nothing but incompetency, insanity, should not be happening. The border and the programs at the border was handed to the Biden administration on a golden platter, and in a matter of 60 days, they have completely destroyed what Donald Trump put together in the last 4 years, and it's costing us an enormous amount of money, and it's a detriment to the country. It's dangerous. I'm concerned about our national security. It's just a nightmare, and I don't know if there's anybody in the White House that's going to be able to fix it.
But, Commissioner, they said that it was the prior administration that took it apart, that gave them a broken immigration system, and they're the ones fixing it. But that is only logical if their version of fixing it is to open our borders, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's a lie. Basically, what they've said publicly is a lie. And all you have to do is ask the president of Mexico or ask any one of these people that's breaking into the United States right now. They will tell you personally, and I've seen a dozen interviews where the people coming into the U.S. right now in violation of U.S. law has basically said publicly they would have never tried this. They would have never done this if Donald Trump was still the president. They did it because Joe Biden opened up the floodgates. And the president of Mexico is basically saying the same thing. Yeah. So I don't want to hear that this was Donald Trump's problem, because it wasn't happening when Donald Trump was in office. It started happening 60 days ago, and in the last 2 months, we've had a surge at the borders that basically endangers every American in this country.
Is there a point where you can predict that they will have to admit that this is a crisis? Will it get so bad that at some point they will have to tell the truth, Commissioner?
I don't think so. I don't think they're into telling the truth. Joe Biden's sitting in the office of the president and shouldn't be. Hunter Biden's not in prison where he should be. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened or hasn't happened that they have consistently lied about, and nobody's held them accountable in the mainstream media, in the Justice Department, or anywhere else. So I don't see anybody stepping up to the plate and calling this what it is. But I do see a consistent endangerment of the border and our national security that is pretty frightening.
Well, we're going to talk about just how bad the situation is inside our justice system with our special guest, the author of The Lost Son, A Life in Pursuit of Justice, the 40th Police Commissioner of the New York City Police Department. Follow him at Bernie Kerik right now. I'm Sebastian Gorka. We'll be back with the Commissioner. We are broadcasting from the ReliefFactor.com. Sadly, we're living under a Biden-Harris administration. What does it mean for your finances? More debt? More regulation, more money printing, less growth, and higher taxes. The importance of owning physical gold and silver has never been greater. Call the veteran-owned Midas Gold Group today to get their guide to owning bullion and coins. Call 480-360-3000 or go to MidasGoldGroup.com.
Portions of America First are brought to you in part by Salem Now and Church People.
America is under siege on all fronts. Big tech, the liberal media, radical professors, Antifa, censorship wherever you look. But what we're seeing now didn't happen overnight. The left started its takeover over our colleges and our culture over half a century now. It's time we fight back. It's time to fight for the future of the Republic. Scott Walker is a man who knows how to fight and win. He proved that as governor of Wisconsin. No matter what the left threw at him, he stood firm and won the day. And as the new president of Young America's Foundation, Governor Walker is launching his plan, The Long Game. The Long Game is a bold strategy for winning the battle and the war. It empowers conservative students and holds colleges accountable for unconstitutional crackdowns. The Long Game invests in young people for generations to come. This is about enacting a plan that will outlast all of us. It's about being as bold in your reclaiming education as the left was in hijacking it. And it might be the only way our country survives. Walker's new playbook, The Long Game, provides the tools needed to defend freedom today and for generations to come. I'm asking you all to please go to waf.org/longgame today to get your free copy of the plan to save America. That's waf.org/longgame. We are back with none other than Commissioner Bernie Kerik. He is somebody well-versed in the justice system. You've got to read his story, the book, The Lost Son, A Life in Pursuit of Justice. You touched upon it in the last segment, Commissioner. A lot of Americans really fear that we have evolved into a country with multiple judicial systems. If your last name is right, then you are basically immune from the judicial system. If you're a conservative, like Dinesh D'Souza, like Mike Flynn, it's another story. So what do you say to those, Commissioner, who believe we have a two-tiered legal and judicial system? And if that is the case, is there anything we can do about it?
Well, the answer is yes. It's a two-tiered system, and that's obvious when you have people sitting in the White House. You have the son of the president and others that were in clear violation of criminal law in a number of different fronts that are not being held accountable, and others are politically persecuted, targeted for political reasons. The Justice Department is used as a tool against political opponents and adversaries, people of a different party. When that stuff's going on, it's definitely a two-tiered system. What can you do about it? You can't do anything about it right now because Joe Biden is running. Well, Joe Biden's not running anything, really. The Democratic Party is running the show, and they're not going to hold anybody accountable. I don't see the Justice Department doing what they have to do. I think there's big problems, and the problem is going to continue until you get an attorney general that is non-political and that basically does the job that's supposed to be done.
But it's not just at the federal level, is it? If we look at what's happening in New York, why is it that Governor Cuomo, seemingly, he seems to be laughing it off, but he only gets challenged at all publicly when 7 or 8 women accuse him of being sexually inappropriate, despite the fact that we know his direct policy decisions resulted in the death of more than 14,000 New Yorkers? Then this is something that needs to be fixed at the state and local level as well, correct?
Well, the issue with the governor and the nursing homes, it's appalling that hasn't been dealt with, investigated by the Justice Department, and people held accountable. That's insane. The thing with the women, that's a completely another issue, and I have to tell you, look at the 2 scenarios of Kavanaugh,
yes,
who had one woman that made claims about something that he did in high school, 40 years ago or 45 years ago, whatever the number is, versus what's going on with the governor. You know what? The Democratic Party turned the judicial system upside down over Kavanaugh. Where are they now? Where are they when you have 7 or 8 women? I don't know. I don't even know what the number is. I try not to pay attention to it. Where are they now? Why isn't there the same amount of outrage? Why isn't there the same amount of focus? Where's the hearings? Where's all the stuff they did with regard to Kavanaugh on Governor Cuomo?
Yeah, indeed. So what do you think is going to be the prescription? Is there going to be a wake-up call? Is it just going to be the drubbing of the Democrats in next year's election? What is it going to take for people to say, enough is enough, Commissioner? You've been through the ringer. You've been there, the tip of the spear. You must know better than most what it will take to bring America back to reality.
You know what happens, Sebastian, and I use New York City as an example. Why was Giuliani elected in 1993 to come into New York City, a Republican? Because New York City was about to implode.
Yeah.
New York City had the highest crime rates, murder rates, violence rates in the country, probably in the world. It wasn't until then, until it was about ready to implode, that people said, okay, enough's enough, we got to get somebody else in here, we don't care who it is. They elected Giuliani to change it. That's what happens. The American people, once it starts to implode, whatever it is, then they'll take action. But until then, it's really left to the political players. And today, with the polarization of politics in Washington and around the country, nothing's going to happen.
You heard it here first. It's going to have to get worse before it gets better. 40th Police Commissioner of the New York City Police Department. Follow him right now on Twitter at Bernie Kerik, and also check out his fabulous autobiography, The Lost Son, A Life in Pursuit of Justice. Thank you, Commissioner. This is America First on the Salem Radio Network, coming to you from the ReliefFactor.com studios. Relief Factor, it's real. You heard my news story. After 2 years, I'm still finding how incredible this product is, and that's true for tens of thousands of Americans across the country, just like Yvonne from California. Both my husband and I are in our 70s and are so grateful to have found Relief Factor. We tried so many other solutions, but none of them have given us the freedom of being pain-free like Relief Factor. Did you hear those words? Pain-free. That's remarkable, and that could be you. Find out today. It's so very, very easy. All you have to do, if you've tried everything else and it hasn't worked, is call 800-500-8384 or go to ReliefFactor.com to order your 3-week quick starter pack. It'll be at your door in 3 days or less. Take it morning and evening just like I do, and I promise you, by the end of those 3 weeks, you will know whether it works for you like it works for me, Yvonne, and thousands of your fellow Americans. You know it makes sense. You deserve to know. And for $19.95, what have you got to lose except the pain? You've waited long enough. Do it today. 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.